I don't think that anybody wanted to go, right? Including all of us, right? Including my dad. He felt like he had to. My mom tells me like a really, sad story about us being on the boat, everybody being exhausted, and them looking at my mom saying, tugging on her and say, we want to go home. We want to go home, right? So we took the journey south and then to the west, to Malaysia. And we were at sea for 3 days. And seas were rough. It was difficult, but we were lucky, right? In that the weather cooperated enough for us to be able to make the voyage in that direction. You'd hear about whole families that were lost at sea, right? Because a whole family was able to book passage and get on a boat, and then something happened with the boat, and then a whole family's lost, right? We were hit by pirates at sea, and I say pirates, but they weren't really pirates. They were just Thai fishermen trying to make a living, and then seeing all these boats crossing daily. These little bitty rickety boats. And so the first pirates came alongside, and ours is like a wooden dinghy, and I remember asking my parents, like, what if we just didn't stop? And I said, their boats are so big they would just ram us, and if they ram you enough, then your boat will just fall apart, and so they stop. We tie up, and then they take all the people from the boat over to their boat, and then they come aboard, and then they look for any valuables. I remember my parents telling me that it was around like 150 to 200 people on a boat that probably shouldn't have had more than 40 people, 30, 40 people, So, just a little fishing boat, definitely not anything that was safe for sea. And then as far as what valuables we would have, people left with as much as they could. So any jewelry, any gold, any dollars, anything that they had, they would take with them, right? So I think for these fishermen, it would have been much more valuable than a day's worth of fishing, right? If you were the first pirates to hit. Actually, my brothers told me that one of the best meals they ever had was on one of these pirate boats. They just fed you some rice and some vegetable, but after not eating for all that time at sea, that was, one of the best meals they ever had. So the first group of pirates came, they robbed us, and then put us back on the boat and sent us on our way. At some point after that, another set of pirates came, and then they were disappointed by what we had left, right? Which wasn't much. And I don't even know, where they came up with this, but my grandmother got rock sugar, and she squeezed lemon on all these, right? It's like a big thing. And then broke it down so that my mom could carry in a sack. And my mom would take a cube and put it in, and then put it in a cloth. And then I would suck on that cloth, and I would get it wet, and it would give, just give me enough to keep me going. I don't think that they intended for that to be used at sea, right? I think that they thought that voyage would be much quicker. We ended up being at sea for 3 days, 4 days. And they just didn't realize what they were getting into, and I don't think they knew what they didn't know. And so they didn't know to ask these questions. How long will it take? All of these things. After that, we landed in Malaysia. Everybody disboarded and was on land for not too long before the Malaysian Coast Guard came. They had already had too many refugees come and, I guess for lack of a better word, pollute their islands and their lands. And so they beat up the captain and put everybody back on the boat, took the compass and took some other important navigation equipment, and towed us out to sea to die, basically, right? And then that's when we were hit by a third group of pirates. And when these pirates came, they saw the situation that we were in, and so they fed us instead, and then pulled us back in. And this time, when we were pulled back into the island, everybody broke the boat apart, so we couldn't be pulled back out to sea. And then this poor captain got beat up again and punished for coming back in, but they allowed us to stay. You know, everybody gets whatever they can from the boat to go live on the island. And some of the things that my dad got that I thought were interesting, ginger was one of the most important things that he got because he was worried about dysentery, right? And so ginger is supposed to help with that. He got a big tarp that we used, and also the roof of the fishing boat. He and his younger brother were able to pull, and then we used to get us off of the ground to sleep on. And so we stayed on that island. I don't remember how long. I want to say for some number of months before we were pulled into the larger refugee camp. So once you arrive at this larger refugee camp, you were basically just in these huts, right? And you were on the dirt, or if you were able to find some wood, you would find something, then you were above the dirt, and you set up your own canopy. And from what I understand, there were thousands of people there. And each day, each family was assigned a can of sardines. I think you had like 1 or 2 packs of ramen noodles, maybe like another can of vegetables, but not much else. And you get that every day for 2 years. So my mom remembers, like, you know, washing off the sardines and trying to cook something else with it, frying it, you know, doing whatever. But, you know, you were always trying to do something. With the noodles, you would put the water in, and you had to cook it for as long as you can to make it expand as much as you can, right, to feed everybody. But we were in camp. We were not allowed to fish. There was a fence around. We say it's a camp, but really, you know, it's just an area on a beach that was fenced off, and everybody stay here. We weren't allowed to enter Malaysia at all. And there were some services there, and there were some Malaysians that would come into the camp to sell goods. So my dad, I think, worked with a Chinese lady there because he spoke Chinese. That was able to help them and make, you know, a little bit more money. In the time that we're in this refugee camp, we were able to find out that my mom's brothers, that these uncles had landed in America. Once you get your papers and your process to leave, then you get to go into a trailer. They have some bunk beds, you know. We were talking about it. They have some special tile, and I thought, tile, like, never seen this before. It's just supposed to be dirt, right? So I did realize at that point then that something was happening. So you and your group of people that are leaving all enter these trailers, and so everybody's very excited, and some will be coming to America, some will be going wherever, but this will be the last time we see each other. Who knows until when? And so, sure, a very bittersweet time. It's one of the things that we've talked about, you know, in the years also, right, is that, like, you know, so people were lost people were captured before they even got out of the bay, and then sent to re-education camps where many people never made it back. People are lost at sea to weather, storm situations, all this. We were lost to pirates. People were lost once you arrive at the camp, right? People were lost. All these things. Why did you leave? And the answer from both of my parents is that, and it's the same, you know, for everybody at that time, was that because anything was better than the situation that we were in, right? Including, you know, taking a chance and possibly dying. So, you know, when the question asks, you know, why did you choose to leave? I think the answer is that we didn't have a choice. That's relevant today when we think about refugees that are coming to America or that are leaving their countries and going to, you know, from Africa to Europe, from South America to North America. people aren't making a choice, right? They feel like they have no choice. If you're going to leave everything that you have, everybody that you know, everything that you've ever owned or anything like this, and you're going to take infants, you're going to take elderly, and you're just going to leave, and you know how dangerous that is. Like once you make that decision, then the truth is that you don't feel like you have a choice.